We're going to call this one Check This Out. So check this out. Now, I might get a call back from my bud about using his house for the live drum room. Really, I think it's Stargrove's Part 2. But anyway, check this out in the meantime. So I'm going to wait for his call. Alright, look at this guy. I got this on eBay. This is a 6.5 by 14 Supra. Okay, Ludwig Supra. 70s. Judging by the serial number, I'd say probably 1975. Okay? Obviously, somebody painted it because it was all pitted. Yeah, obviously, I think if you plate aluminum, I think you're supposed to put a plating of zinc first. But I think back in the days of Ludwig, or even now still, it's just not the best plating job. I mean, you actually can plate aluminum, but it's a little expensive. Alright, so anyway, this is 1976. Somebody, again, painted it, kind of looks like a blue acro. In fact, it almost looks exactly like if you were to get like a blue, like an acrolite today, a black crow, but this is a blue crow. Okay, gotta love a blue crow. So, look at the snare wires. Ambassador snare. This came to me this way. And what's kind of neat is it's an Evans hydraulic. So this almost looks just like a Jack DeJohnette, or the DeJohnette, who made those? A head? Or, what were the drum heads? I can't remember. But good company. I think they're still around. Aquarian. Aquarian, there we go. Used to make a Jack DeJohnette. Okay? Now here's the thing. What that does is, remember, Bonham, in my opinion, did use muffling on his drums and his snare drum. I think when he'd record or play, when he wasn't doing Moby Dick, he'd just touch the muffler to the top of the bottom head. Hang on. To the bottom of the top head. Okay? So this hydraulic acts as a muffling. So this action is certainly, to me, has a little more of an Alex Van Halen feel. Because I always felt, well, I do actually, that Alex Van Halen and Bonham tune their snares almost identically as far as getting the throaty pitch. So maybe Van Halen's might have been a little tighter tuned, but also his top head was always a lot deader. But anyway, listen to this. So here are some rim shots. Well, here at my left hand. So it's pretty tightly done. Now, there's kind of generally... Now, I've been thinking that I really think that I've always said a minor third on the interval, but it's dawned on me. What I actually think it really is, what turns out to be the tuning, is I think it's a second. Okay, so da, ba, 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 okay? Well, like a full step. Tighter on the bottom, okay? So here you can kind of hear it. Listen to this. And then da, da, da. Hang on, Jesus. Actually, you know what? It actually sounds like now to me, to my harmonics, that they're tuned at the same pitch. But it's kind of not really, it's hard to explain. There's a weird, at this tuning, there's like a, maybe it's the timbre of the shell. I don't know. Maybe that's what Bonham did. I always wanted to make a video where I said that's what he did. Like make it up, but I can't do that, dude. But really, I think if you take all your stuff off a Supra, especially an aluminum shell, an aluminum shell will vibrate very much like a chime. You know when you see like aluminum bars, you know, ding, 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 ding. Often they're aluminum. They actually sound great as bars. Well, I think if you pick up a Supra, or whatever snare drum it is, if it's metal, even wood, you'll tap it and kind of do that DW shell pitch thing, right? And I'm dead serious, especially with the metal shell. You know, I have a shell around here. Be patient. Right here. I don't have to dig it up. Okay. Check this out. Now here is a standard shell. Okay, we're going to hear the drum in a minute. We'll get there. But a standard shell. Ludwig standard. I would put this well, the date's right in there. February 25, 1971. Okay. Anyway, so let's hear, now, of course, the badge is on it, but listen. Da, da. But there's two tones there. Da, da, and then there's also ooh, 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 da, do. Now I'll try to get real. Damn that lawnmower. Listen. Jesus. Hang on. I'll hold it by the the buzzer. Hear that? Da, that's one of them. But there's also la, la, ba, 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 ba. Now that I think might be a minor third. Ba, 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 ba. No, I guess it's two steps. Ba, ba, ba. Kind of like the NBC. Ba, ba, ba. All right, so honestly, let's see here what we can get out of this. Ba, ba, ba. Then there's also okay, honest to God, it's like a freaking chord. It's like a train whistle. Train whistles often will have three tones, I think. Sometimes ba ba ba, but usually there's a ba 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 and then a So when you hear that all simultaneously, it sounds whack jobby, scare the shite out of you when you need to get out of the way. But check this out. So I hear three tones. So I did not do that with this drum because it just occurred to me, maybe honest to God, to just do this. But I hear generally three tones in there, and I suspect if you pick the three tones, sit down at a keyboard and nail them, tune your top head and your bottom head to one of those intervals, and I guarantee you it'll give you that's probably honest to God how the bottom sound comes about. I think my three-step one ba ba ba, like a minor third, I think works a lot of the time because I think probably often maybe there's that shell. Maybe if I were to tap that shell, I might hear that exact tone. But you know, drums might have slightly different pitches, so you might be slightly like out of phase or whatever. So that's maybe why you might have I can't tune the drum because you're sort of tuning it maybe to if you keep going to a set like always tuning it as let's say a G top, right, or an A bottom. Would that be right? So a little tight, maybe just one step. That if the actual tones you're using without thinking about it are clashing slightly with these fundamentals in the shell, right off the bat. Ooh. There's also an octave there, but also ooh. Ooh. So whatever that is. Ooh. Ooh. It's a little flatter than that though. Ooh. And then there's the ding, ding, ooh. Think of those. Da, do, da, do. But then bring it down an octave. Ba, see, ba, boo. I don't know. Hang on. Bear with me. And then the third, it's really bow. So then it's like bow, bow, bow. Would that be? Bow. It's a little flatter in the middle. So boom, ba, boom, ba. Is that one step? But to a boom, ba, boom, ba. Right. I guess that's just a full octave. Okay? Octave. And then do. Is that Jesus? Do it yourself. Get an analysis. But back to this drum. But I think that makes sense. You might get 3 or 4 bizarre fundamental notes out of the shell. So do that. See, try your tuning there. Anyway, I think I stumbled upon it with more or less sounds kind of like the same side here, same pitch, but not really. Bottom is a little tighter. More Alex Van Halen-y again, like I said, the Evans hydraulic, which is like the Jack DeJohnette head. Okay. Remember, snare wire is not too tight, but this is tuned a little tight for my taste. I mean, that's kind of like. That's almost like Since I've Been Loving You-y. But again, I think Since I've Been Loving You would be a little more, like really, like I think Bonham's, I think his snare might have even been that dead for, maybe not quite that dead. Like that. Bonham sound. But again, I think, after thinking about it, it will rely on possibly the fundamentals of the aluminum shell, aluminum bars, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so check this out. So we're, again, that's a little higher pitch. You'd hear that on, what studio recordings, but I think even on Stairway to Heaven, I think the snare would have been tuned this high. So. Down here, again, let me mute that a smidgy widge. If I mute that, I think we're looking at the Stairway to Heaven, maybe actual pitch. Maybe. Hang on, gotta be done properly. Oh, maybe not so much a rim shot. Ooh, that's gotta be cleaner. But no, he doesn't really. It's not quite, not as open. It's more like, I've really been trying to get my left hand to shape. Go back to the snare. Stairway to Heaven, keep on track. God, look how bad those grace notes are. I'm obsessive compulsive. I must actually do this. So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to hit that nice one there. God, mate. That's more. Anyway, I'll get back to that when I can actually perform it. In a minute, because my shakes are really bad. Just had my cup of coffee. Again, so we're having probably tuning, again, upper end of the spectrum. I'm really trying to keep an organization now to these videos, because I look back at them and I miss a lot of info that I started. Again, I think this might be the tuning to the shell to keep that bottom sound. Again, that's pretty dead though. So I'd say Stairway to Heaven, maybe Since I've Been Loving You. I think that's there. But other stuff, like a lot of the physical graffiti stuff, I think is more. Even the snare, if you listen to Song Remains the same soundtrack. Bonham snare really in that recording, it seems like in the 73 tour snare, it still had the bottom throaty sound, but like at a lower tuning or something. Kind of, anyway. Stairway to Heaven. Ah, see, I'm going crazy. I'm going to get this, I swear to God. I'm going to get it. That little frickin' rat bastard of a drum. Anyway, so for tuning the snare, let me see what else. My buddy hasn't called about the room yet. See, as I loosen the basket, the snare drum lowers a little. That actually, honestly, God, might help. Okay. So, see what happened. Nah, still not there. God, look at that. That's what God for heaven. Oh, I had 2 cups of coffee. An Americano, 3 decaf, 1 regular, twice. I normally don't do that though. I know it's getting annoying watching me do that. Hang on. There. I guess that's kind of there, but it's not really. Maybe because the snare's too tightly tuned. Okay, so should have been there. Sloppy. Anyway. Before we go out, I'll do that, but listen to that. My singles still suck. But I think I might have figured out the secret to fast singles. I can't do it now because I was practicing all day yesterday, but there is a secret, and it has to do with the wavy wave. Anyway. How would that go? Please. Anyway, but we're doing bottom. It's all rim shot. Without rim shot. Quick reminder about the shell. Ba ba. We had an octave. Ba ba. What was the third? What was the middle? Ba. Ba. Da. That's not an octave. Bo, da, bo, da. It's like a bizarre seventh or something. Bo, bo. So here we go. Bo, 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 bo. Those are the three. Bo. Yeah, that's a dissonant. Maybe this one's a bummer. Maybe Bonham wouldn't tune this up. But anyway, maybe I suspect. Oh, I guess there could be minors in there. So remember that. Go back to the video if you miss it. So back to this snare. That's just really tight. Now I'm going to make possibly the sin of detuning it a little. I don't want to lose the effect. Oop, that one's pretty loose. Oop, that one was too. One of these is cranked. That one. That happens sometimes. Sometimes, maybe Bonham used to do that too. Maybe he got a nice tuning and just took one of them and cranked them right where he did the rim shot. That's a good experiment. So that way it wouldn't detune as fast, and you might just have that. Let's try that. Anyway, so now we're just detuning a little. All right. See, right in dissonant, Bill. Screw it. I'm going back. See, that's how it doesn't sound. Got to get that chordal relationship in the fundamental tune of the shell. Alright, I think that's helpful. Oh, I didn't touch that one. Shit, I didn't touch that. So. Alright, let's try this. I think we're back. Let's see. Not quite. Not quite. Gotta get a little bit of that. Closer. Maybe it's not that note, but down then up a little. Close. We'll leave it there. All right. So get one of these guys. Get a black roll, but this is a Supraphonic. Supraphonic. What is interesting too, real fast, Bonham really did seem, when you look at the pictures, to really grip the. I never really did that. I always usually just leave my snare sort of sitting on a slightly more, like you could pull your snare off at any time. I kind of like it like that. But I think Bonham used to really squeeze. Maybe that has an effect on the sound. Yeah, like maybe keep more energy in this chamber bar thingy. Anyway, so do that. Here we go. Hang on. Which Jimmy Page cleaned that up. Compare the original. Song remains the same at the end of Whole Lotta Love. That fill in the original Song Remains the Same soundtrack and movie, you can really hear it like he's hitting those plexiglass, the acrylic toms. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really sounds like. It actually looks like you might be doing it with one hand. Like that, okay? itty Bonham. Not quite where I had it. No, it really worked. I'm going to make a singles video. I think I've kind of figured out how to actually do singles, and it's not fast singles like in that sort of at least Dick Cully fashion. Even though I'm no, well, the key is I think to work your hand, each hand up into where you do one E and a two E and. Okay, if you can do that in a second, you got really fast singles. One E and a two E and. That's about the speed. Okay, both hands. The problem is both hands don't have the skill together. So anyway, but back to I've been working on my hands really hard, and they really feel like they're kind of rubbery and really tired. Almost like if you haven't shoveled snow, or what would that be like? If you haven't done something for a couple months and just kind of a little while after you just kind of like, wow, I'm getting old. It's kind of like that. So anyway, drum. Hasn't called me back. Oh, he has. He has texted me. Leans my code, did you? Okay. From my main man, who name you can't see. I said, "What's up, brother?" He said, "Nothing. Going to Ireland in a couple days. The mother country." Huh. So I'm gonna have to lean on him a little, see if he'll let me pull it off. But it's kind of like, yeah, that's it. Where's my train of thought? Oh, that Jimmy Page edited that out. Listen to the new release, I don't know, maybe in the past 10 years, of the song Remains the Same, in Whole Lotta Love. First, Jimmy Page mixed the drums a little, I think. They have a little bit more of that flavor in certain parts, anyway, in certain songs. Well, I should say on the, they added on the, da ba ba da da boom ba ba. You still hear that 1973 Eddie Kramer recording, you know, that sound of the plexiglass drums and stuff, but there's a slight, like, different compression or something on the snare drum that gives it more of that, not BBC Sessions, but that, you know, the one that has the 2 California shows. Like that a little. Anyway, so check that out. Jimmy Page got rid of the... I gotta get this with it. How can I bring this freaking drum down a little? Oh yeah, I stuck in there. Anyway, but I might have to do the snare is just so high. I need to do the Stairway to Heaven thing because I really am. And I really want to be able to show that in fact I do that all the time. That I do have the skill to pull that little riff. Boy, I'm not at the intro though. For reference, if there's something in your hedgerow, I don't know, it might be there. But let me start with the fill. Alarm now, right there. Don't be alarmed now. He does this thing where it's kind of draggy or something in a weird way. Don't be alarmed now. Right in there, he does a kind of, but not as that one. Like that, okay? It just sounds so fat. Again, like in that video, I put the 10 best sounding Zeppelin tunes. I mean, it was kind of not a joke, but I really wanted to see how many hits I'd get. Like, and of course I knew people would complain about it. So I left Stairway to Heaven off by accident, but let's just say I really didn't think that much about it. So there's that. Yeah, band's lower, or this is, the tune is high, or I'm just a melonhead, but I'm going to go back to that 6.5. So, alright, well, let's make it this. I was just going to do a quick thing because I really thought my friend was going to call, my friend Frank, that is his name, was going to call back. He's a little busy, I think. He texted. Let me put this back down, I got it thrown. But anyway, so that I think is just sort of, I wanted to just show, essentially, that from where I was sitting initially when I checked the tuning out, that it was a second. Okay? That dawned on me, it kind of was the same, it seemed, although there was sort of a note in there that was sort of secondy. But I really couldn't hear in the shell, because I think that note occurs in this object. The resonation. What do they call it? The harmonic. There's a term for it. The harmonic, like the fundamental tone of whatever object you're in or whatever's around you. If it has like that tone. Just do E harmony. Tap your skull. All right, let's see here. Okay. So doing that, I think I'd hear in the drum where that note, the would really kind of resonate. Okay, but most importantly, at least in this case, I think the relationship, it sort of dictates if it's really good sounding. Maybe those three fundamentals. So here. But an octave lower than that. Okay, do that with those. I know that seems crazy, but I'm dead serious. I really think that's frickin' how Bonham, I think it would work. Those, pick one of those three notes. But anyway, wanted to give an update on the room. We'll get the room. Big live room. There's a piano in it. Just happens to be there. It's a great living room. It just has that Stargrows mojo. Thanks for watching. Again, everybody with their drums tonight. If you got a metal shell drum, try to find at least 2 or 3 of those fundamental notes, a la DW. Thanks for watching. And I think hopefully, if he's going up to Ireland, I might have to run and make this video today or tomorrow or. To leaving Friday, tomorrow maybe, but odds are, yeah, it might be 2 weeks. But it will really sound good. It really will. And I think what I'm going to do is also get. I'm going to get the engineer I use for my Terry Keating greatest hits, which you have to buy, to come in here, like literally right here, because I think I can get a good sound in here. It might not necessarily be Bonham-y, but I think it's good sounding. There is a certain sound in this room, and so I think if I use like maybe a 87, I'll put it in this neck of the woods where I leave you, because there's a good sound that comes this way. This is similar actually to the bottom thing I'm going to show you. Just in the bottom thing, I'll have 2 mics, just will be a little further off. But I guess I could try it down here. But my friend Jamie from Carter Co. Recording in Chicago, you should go to him. Jamie Carter, Carter Co. Recording. Be there or be square. He's going to come in. Maybe 3 condensers, maybe an RE20 on the bass drum, and I'm going to try and get a really good drum sound in here. But what I could do maybe then is even there too,